We're at TCF Bank Stadium on the campus of the University of Minnesota. 1 o'clock kickoff, Redskins and Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. Larry Michael. Game Time Live presented by Verizon. And there he is, the Redskins starting quarterback, Robert Griffin III. He will get the starting call here today as the Redskins look to win their third straight. They are 3-5 coming off that overtime win over the Dallas Cowboys. Minnesota 3-5 coming off an overtime win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. A lot of conversation about RG3. It's been a very, very odd day here in Minnesota, to say the least. 2 of the Redskins team buses involved in a wreck on the way to the stadium. And on one of those buses is our own Andrew Walker, was our own Andrew Walker. And so before we focus on football, the picture of RG3 will tell the story. Tell us what happened this morning.
Well, we get a police escort to all stadiums, and it appeared maybe the police officer missed the exit that we were taking, kind of swerved in front of us, and the bus came to a screeching halt to avoid hitting that squad car, and then we were kind of wondering what was, 2 or 3 seconds of nothing, and then bam, our bus gets slammed into from behind. We were in the coach's staff bus, number 1, and then the player bus 2 slammed into us. Very fortunate that appears no one was hurt or seriously hurt. I have not heard anything about the police officer. Police officer might have been injured, but I can't speculate on that. But hopefully everybody involved is okay.
That's the good news. Now to football here on a chilly day. The temperature right now in the mid-40s, 46 degrees. Supposed to get up to 52 by the time kickoff happens. And there is Adam Hayward.
He was just called Jason Hatcher mistakenly, so he's having a little fun with a fan.
Only about 6 inches difference there between those two individuals. So, Andrew, what do you expect out of Robert Griffin III? He hasn't played since week 2. Redskins have won 2 straight. I know there's going to be a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on. It's already happening here on a Sunday afternoon. What do you expect out of RG3?
Well, he's just hit a field goal, but I don't expect that much out of him. But anyway, you know what? I think Alfred Morris will really benefit from Robert Griffin III being back. And, when you talk about Robert himself, he was pretty much ready for that Dallas game, and they decided to hold him back. This is a game that they circled, hey, let's bring him back. Everything I've seen, it's just first few minutes of practice. He looks fine. He looks fine here. I'm really anxious to see how he does in a game situation with the pressure on, and the offense has done pretty well without him, and Desean Jackson's been that deep guy. You got to wonder, after he did try to go deep to him in that Jacksonville game before he got hurt, that theme's probably going to continue too.
All right, each week you give us the keys to the game. You can read Andrew's work, outstanding work, on Redskins.com. He covers the team on a daily basis. And you're usually pretty accurate, Andrew, with your keys. What are you looking at today?
Well, this is, first, both these teams here are hoping to get that really elusive win going into the bye week, and that could be huge for both teams, especially for the Redskins, because, the Vikings haven't really beat anybody of note, and the Redskins are pretty hot coming into today's game. If they can get that win going into the bye week, get one game under 500, they have that Tampa Bay game. No games guaranteed to win, but that's an opponent they think they can beat at home. Then that gives them a 500 record, and really they're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the season. So that's pretty much my main key. The Vikings are much improved on defense. Robert Griffin III has his hands full. The Vikings are very good with their pass rush, but he might be able to, throw the ball around a little bit on him. Alfred might be able to run a little bit. Roy Hallouz looks strong this season. He also has less hair. He told me he donated his hair, for Locks of Loves or one of those organizations. So anyway, I really think the Redskins offense should have a pretty interesting game against this Vikings defense.
All right, Andrew Walker, we appreciate him stopping by, and go get yourself some warmth.
Okay, I'll get a little aspirin for my back too. So.
Yeah, good thing none of our colleagues were injured severely in that car wreck, but everybody seems to be feeling some bumps and bruises. And you hope the Redskins that were on the buses don't feel anything here today. You had some players on those first 2 buses that we know were involved in that accident. We'll see if that pans out in any way. There you see the center of the field, Redskins, and you can see the wind. There is a pretty good wind. It's about 15 miles an hour. It'll be gusting. As we look from the broadcast booth down, the flags on the goalposts were going in different directions, which you're in an open-ended stadium here on the campus of the University of Minnesota. The new stadium will not be ready until 2016. It will be a beautiful dome stadium. And I guess the good news is the Redskins could have been scheduled to come to Minnesota in late December. Instead, we're here in early November, and there's certainly going to be a difference in temperatures. There's Trent Williams. It's Darrell Young, excuse me. Darrell Young right in front of us. Darrell Young's got 4 touchdowns this year. That matches his career high. And right in front of us, you see Niles Paul. Niles Paul with the white shirt, warming up with Wes Phillips, the tight ends coach. Niles Paul has career numbers this year in terms of receptions and yardage, and we're only halfway through the year. So Niles is really having a breakout season for the Washington Redskins. Once again, Game Time Live presented by Verizon. An invitation for you to join us on Redskins.com and also on Comcast Sportsnet the day after every Redskins game. The Monday morning Redskins Roundup presented by Verizon. As we recap what happened the day before, and for the Redskins, it'll be this ball game here. And Minnesota comes into this game with an overtime victory over Tampa Bay. And as Andrew Walker talked about, you can take a look at who beat who, and the Redskins are coming off a victory over a pretty good football team in the Dallas Cowboys. But at 3-5, the Redskins all week long try to talk about not feeling a letdown, that they are 3-5. They really don't have anything to celebrate at this point. Yeah, it was an emotional win. It was a great win over the Dallas Cowboys. But, in fact, 3-5 is the record. So it's a bottom line. Trent Williams, Sean Laval, a couple members of the Redskins offensive line. Down the line there to the right in the burgundy long-sleeve shirt is Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Kerrigan, number 2 in the National Football League, 8.5 sacks this year. And number 1 is Griffin, the defensive lineman of the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings have 28 sacks this season. And so that's a part of the football team today. The Redskins offensive line going to be a key portion of this football game. Offensive line trying to protect Robert Griffin III. And again, you hear all the speculation that there's going to be a lot of running involved from RG3. We'll wait and see. Redskins certainly have a different dimension with Robert Griffin III out there. But we'll wait and see if he'll be ready to go. He will start the ball game. And as Andrew mentioned, he would have been ready to go last week, but the Redskins held him out of that ball game, and Colt McCoy got the job done. Game Time Live presented by Verizon. There's Jay Gruden right in front of us. I wonder how he went through that bus accident. He would have been in the front of that bus, too. And it's a scary proposition there. But show us the stadium here, Alex. Give us a good look around this stadium, which holds 52,200, the home of the Golden Gophers. College, obviously, University of Minnesota in the Big Ten. Lou Holtz was the head coach here at one point in time. And the Vikings like being outdoors. I know a lot of them long for the days of Metropolitan Stadium, which was the home stadium for this football team prior to the building of the Metrodome. The Metrodome has been imploded, and right now on that very same site is the construction of the new stadium. Wind is certainly going to be a factor here. The passing game, the kicking game, with the wind that we have here. Gusts up to 15 miles an hour, a swirling wind, if you will. And Chris Russell is here from ESPN 980. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Larry. Sorry we got caught up on the elevators.
No worries. Give me your outlook on this ball game. Obviously, we talked about it in the pregame show a little bit earlier. Both teams 3-5. Neither team really has a lot to brag about, even though the Redskins won last week. But the winner of this game gets 2 weeks. Both teams have a bye, so that kind of compounds what will happen to the winner of the game and also the loser of this game.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for the Redskins, despite everything that's gone on this week and, everything that's gone on this morning. This is a great opportunity on the road to, like you said, go on vacation at 4-5, knowing that, Tampa at home is your next opponent. If you don't win, it's a miserable experience. But Robert coming back, this is a very tough defense to deal with. Let's start there. But where I think the Redskins win this game, Larry, is if they win special teams like they did last week, and their defense, which of course played a great game on Monday night. If they can get after Teddy Bridgewater and that weak offensive line, I think the Redskins can get a W.
Does Chuck Sapienza have the inactives? You got the inactives?
The NFL granted the Washington Redskins 30 extra minutes to announce the inactives because of the bus accident, so 11 o'clock inactives.
All right, there you go, from Chuck Sapienza. He always likes mic time.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, Chuck's a good man. So, But, here's the thing. I mean, there's so much controversy swirling around with everything. Just play a football game. I hope, whatever has happened, didn't happen, I hope that Robert can go out there somewhat free of mind and do what Robert did in 2012 and at times last year, Larry.
What are you referring to? Are you referring to what happened in the locker room on Friday, or the report that Robert...
All the reports, and we don't have to go there. I mean, it is what it is. Some of that's, first of all, let me say this. Some of that stuff that was reported this morning on ESPN, completely and 1,000% wrong. I was there.
In the locker room when Robert was doing his press conference, the guys were goofing in the background, and it was misreported that was a sign of disrespect to Robert.
That's the part that's untrue. Not that they were goofing and hooting and hollering and being adversarial to the media. That part is true. The intent that it was against Robert Griffin III is categorically untrue. It has been let's just say that's not the first time that type of situation has happened over the last couple of weeks. Either way, you have to block that out, Larry, and you have to kind of get back to playing free football. For Robert, I think that means getting rid of the football quickly. Do you know this year he's 20 of 20 when he has the ball for less than 2.5 seconds in the pocket. 20 of 20. Get rid of the football. That will get the Vikings zone defense to jump up on your hitches and your comebacks and your slants and your short stuff, and then boom, you go to Jordan Reed down the seam or Desean Jackson over the top.
Game 9 for the Redskins. RG3 without a touchdown passing, without a touchdown rushing. I guess you can at least predict that'll change today.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you would expect. He does have the costly red zone turnover, obviously, in Houston, but the Robert that we saw for a brief glimpse against Jacksonville at home, different defense, granted. That's the Robert I want to see. If we get that Robert, this team can go a long way. I'll just say that.
All right, thanks to Chris Russell from ESPN 980. Does an outstanding job being screened now to Desean Jackson, playmaker for the Redskins. Maybe he will go deep. Maybe we'll see him in the end zone a little bit later today here in Minneapolis. On behalf of our crew, Alex Diamond, Larry Michael, thanking you for watching Game Time Live presented by Verizon, and we'll talk to you later from the broadcast booth. Thanks again.